you, joined with the Father, find yourself not faced with decisions, just the emergence of joy and gratitude and awe and bliss and love that embraces everyone and everything. That is your gift, and that is what you create. That is your creation. But your creation is only the illumination of the movement of God in you. I say only, and that might make it sound minimal. It is only that, but that is an infinite gift. You made only the decision to be unworthy of both. Yet you could not make yourself unworthy because you are the treasure of God. What He values is valuable. Do you hear that? What He values is valuable because He is the one who determines the meaning of everything. And therefore, at this very moment, no matter how you are thinking of yourself, no matter how poorly you are defining yourself in your mind, you are wrong. Anne, wake her up. I want you to hear this. No matter what you are thinking about yourself, no matter how you might be perceiving yourself, no matter how poorly you might be defining yourself, you are valued by God. And that means that your current definitions of yourself are not true. You are welcome. What He values is valuable. There can be no question of its worth. In other words, there can be no question of your worth because its value lies in God's sharing Himself with it and establishing its value forever. You are the visibility and tangibility of God. Therefore, you are valuable. And that's unchangeable. And it is not egotistical or arrogant to think of yourself that way. It is unworthy of you for you to think poorly of yourself and believe your belief. Your function is to add to God's treasure by creating yours. Well, what would your treasure be? Your treasure would be to let the fullness of the perfect movement of creation of God to find expression through you. And not minimize it or distort it by some bias or personal tiny preference that you might bring to bear upon the movement of God's presence. Your function is to add to God's treasure by creating yours. His will to you is His will for you. He would not withhold creation from you because His joy is in it. You cannot find joy except as God does. His joy lay in creating you, and He extends His fatherhood to you so that you can extend yourself as He did. Well, there isn't anything for you to extend but what the Father has extended to you. Intelligence, love, wisdom, joy, peace. In as many ways as come to you for expression. You do not understand this because you do not understand Him. No one who does not know His function can understand it, and no one can know His function unless he knows who He is. Who are you? Well, in spite of your bill of divorcement, you are the son or daughter of God. You are that which has the function of embodying all that God is being right where you are. And letting it out into expression. That's what you are. The place where God shines through. The place where all that is good and holy, meaning whole. The place where love shines through, is embodied. The place where intelligence is embodied. The place where embrace occurs, inclusion occurs, joining occurs. Your will was not created separate from His, and so it wills as He wills. An unwilling will, which is the definition of an ego, an unwilling will does not mean anything, being a contradiction in terms, which actually leaves nothing. When you think you are unwilling to will with God, you are not thinking. God's will is thought. It cannot be contradicted by thought. God does not contradict Himself, and His sons who are like Him cannot contradict themselves or Him. Yet, their thought, your thought, is so powerful that they can even imprison the minds of God's sons if they so choose. And so, if you choose to imagine that you've gotten a bill of divorcement from the Father and you can act and decide and define what everything is on your own, you can blind yourself to reality. you can imprison the Son of God that you are in a costume that says you're immortal, subject to sin, disease, and death, living in a hostile world, which you must use your wits to protect yourself from and survive in, and perhaps achieve some form of success. This choice does make the Son's, it does make your function unknown to you. This choice does make the Son's function unknown to him, but never to his Creator. And because it is not unknown to his Creator, it is forever knowable to him. In other words, because your function is not unknown to your Creator, it is forever knowable to you. And it's available at every moment. There is no question but one you should ever ask of yourself. Do I want to know my Father's will for me? Well, I'll tell you that very often Paul says, no. And very often you say, no, but Father, I'd rather do it myself. I know how to handle this. I don't need you to hold my hand when I take a pee. I know how to do that. Hey, why not have a friend with you when you take a pee? Why not have a friend with you all the time? Why endure the experience of loneliness that always accompanies acts of independence and isolation? There is no question but one you should ever ask of yourself, do I want to know my Father's will for me? He will not hide it. He has revealed it to me because I asked it of him and learned of what he had already given. And this is why I can remember for you. And when you let it in, that will be why you can remember for your brother. And that's how the dominoes begin to fall. And awakening becomes an epidemic. Our function is to function together, because apart from each other, we cannot function at all. When you act on your own, creation isn't occurring. When you act on your own, nothing is happening of the sort you think you've created as an event. Creation as the Father is being it continues to happen right in the face of your attempts to act independently and authoritatively and creatively. You can sit in your living room and close your eyes and imagine that you're bungee jumping off of one of the highest bridges, and you can create for yourself all of the sensations of falling and even of fear, and you can imagine that you come as close to hitting the bottom as is possible without hitting it, and you can get a real thrill from it. But the fact is, through it all, nothing happened. Continuing, the whole power of God's Son lies in all of us, and this is the important point, but not in any of us alone. The whole power of God's Son lies in all of us, but not in any of us alone. God would not have us be alone, because He does not will to be alone. That is why He created His Son and gave Him the power to create with Him. Is that clear? God would not have us be alone. That means that every idea you have embraced that suggests that you are an independent entity and it is something to be proud of, will be undermined, broken down, and disintegrated. And you must allow it to happen. And you must be willing to question the idea that competition is valid and valuable, because competition can only occur between independent entities who have the function or purpose of developing skill that is always greater than someone else, and which believes that the strenuousness of the exercise of competition improves you. God would not have us be alone. Let that sink in and give it your attention so that you can realize how far-reaching that is and the way it flies in the face of a great deal of what is taught to your children in schools. It's competition. It's a form of survival of the fittest. You'd better work hard so you can rise to the top of your class, so that you can get into the best college, so that you can demand the highest salary and be the best in your world, towering over everyone else, if at all possible. You see? God would not have us be alone, because He does not will to be alone. That is why He created His Son and gave Him the power to create with Him. Now, your capacity to create includes, as one of your creations, the ability to make the gift of the recognition of the value of your brother, because you both have the same Father. And you are both equal in the Father, because the Father has given all that He is, embodied all that He is in each of you, and each of you taking your place in that equality allows you not to possess a better intelligence than others, but it allows you to be intelligence itself, which cannot be compared, and in which there is no potential for evaluating different aspects of creation and finding some to be better than others, and some to be faulty and some to be lacking. Our creations, the gifts that we give, the capacity to recognize God in everything we see. That's our creation, the gift of that recognition. Our creations are as holy as we are, and we are the sons of God Himself, and therefore as holy as He is. Through our creations, we extend our love. And thus increase the joy of the Holy Trinity. You do not understand this for a very simple reason. You who are God's own treasure do not regard yourselves as valuable. Given this belief, you cannot understand anything. Why? Because you can't see anything as it is. I share with God the knowledge of the value He puts upon you. My devotion to you is of Him, being born of my knowledge of myself and Him. And we could put this another way. Your devotion to your brother is of Him, being born of my knowledge of myself and Him, which has been extended to you, and therefore has become your knowledge of yourself and Him. We cannot be separated. Whom God has joined cannot be separated, and God has joined all His sons with Himself. Can you be separated from your life and your being? You see, that's what you are. You are being. You are the movement of being. You are the conscious experience of being. You're not a being. You're the very movement of life itself. The journey to God is merely the reawakening of the knowledge of where you are always and what you are forever. We could say the journey to God is merely the reawakening of the knowledge of where you always have been and what you have forever been. It is a journey without distance to a goal that has never changed. Again, the journey to God is merely the reawakening of the knowledge of where you are always and what you are forever. It is a journey without distance to a goal that has never changed. The return home is a return to a state of mind in which you are included, everything is included, and it is all embraced in an unwavering, unchanging, and uninterruptible love. It is your own mind experiencing sanity, integration, integrity, invulnerability, because there is nothing beside it, in which all of creation, including every single one of your brothers, is experienced as, I've said before, as family, not opponents. Your journey home, like that of the prodigal son, is one of coming closer and closer to the conscious experience of the fact that the Father's love for you has never changed, and that what you thought He loved is not what He loved, and what you thought He didn't love, namely, naughty little you, He never stopped loving. So this movement home is a movement which is enveloped in love. One in which you should increasingly feel the experience of being loved for no good reason. I mean by that you should find yourself experiencing love not because you have done something well, not because you have acquired enough skill and have spiritualized yourself enough to be worthy of it as you get closer to home, having lifted yourself up by your own bootstraps. No. Be willing to remember who you are. The divine and holy Son of God. God embodied. By you? No, by God. Therefore, the gift of God is fully given to you as you. And that is what it's your birthright to be experiencing. And in the experience of it, finding yourself unable to withhold that same embrace from your brothers and sisters, and thus engage in creation by the extension of your gifts. We're going to stop there for this evening. And I want you to abide in the feeling that has been conveyed. And I suggest to you that you read this section over during the coming week to remind yourself of the feeling. Because the feeling is part of what will help you dare to abandon the practice of self-defense and to abandon the practice of control and the practice of being totally committed to the definitions you have given everything, so that in the absence of that commitment, you might be inspired. I love you. and I look forward to being with you next week. It's always good to be with you.